said, what have the first couple weeks and everything been like so far with these summer workouts?
It's been amazing. It's pretty surreal, just, coming to dream school, but I've been super happy with the guys, hanging out with everybody, figuring out everybody's personalities on and off the court, working out with them, seeing how we gel on the court. But overall, it's been everything I've wanted and more. The guys are amazing.
I guess the personalities of everybody already kind of gelling together. And what have you found out about some of your teammates maybe that you didn't know?
I found out that a couple of them are a lot more gym rats than I thought, for sure. And I love that because I'm a gym rat myself. So coming up late nights, it's like, okay, all right, got a couple guys that want to come in late night. But then just off the court, guys just want to hang out, just chill, have fun, play video games, just talk, do whatever. So, yeah, it's been an amazing experience with these guys.
You said dream school, talking about Kentucky. Just what made it your dream school? What did you know about this place, I guess, before you got here?
Yeah, so I mean, it's just as a kid watching basketball growing up, it was always just like, you had like the Duke, you had Kentucky, you had Kansas. And I only saw blue growing up, so I was just like, oh yeah, like, gotta go to a blue blood school. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. Then it never came at first, disappointed, but I mean, where I'm at now is just full circle, and I think me and my pops, we talk about that because I had like a list on top of my bed of like 8 schools I want to get off from. I got absolutely none. But Kentucky was on one, so I guess I will go back and find that paper and cross it off because it is definitely amazing to be here. But yeah, I saw guys like Fox go here. I saw the Harrison twins go here. I saw, like just Texas guys going to blue blood school, so I just always kept up with them and watched, blue bloods, and especially Kentucky.
Your dad said in a previous interview that those 3 guys specifically kind of mentored you, or you grew up in a gym watching them. So what was that kind of relationship like?
I mean, it was cool. I mean, I never really, I feel like now at this stage I'll probably talk to him a little bit more, but just growing up, it was just me always being a little kid watching these superstar idols that I just loved watching, like just at the time, and it was just, it's always cool to know that I'm following their footsteps, doing something a little bit right. So, seeing them and now being here, it's cool.
There's a good chance you're going to be able to go against them when they come
yeah,
up here for
definitely.
the TBT, right?
Yeah, I'm excited for that. We just talking about how we got to be ready to, beat them in a couple of weeks when we play them. So I'm super stoked for that.
Every point guard's game's a little different. Andrew's obviously a big guy. De'Aaron's fast. This can be kind of describe your style as a point guard.
I just say cool, calm, collected playmaker who just, wants to make his teammates better, but at the same time is always a threat to just do everything on the court. I want to really tap in this year and just be able to do everything at a very high level, play defense at a high level, distribute at a high level. I definitely want to get that up a lot more. And then, just be a really good leader. And I feel like these guys have really helped me, see that is possible. And, with the coaching staff and everything, with the way that we play, it's definitely feeding into that for sure.
What was Coach Pope's message to you kind of through the transfer process about maybe how you fit here and how he could maybe bring out more of your game or with you at that position?
He brought me on so the first time I met him, he was meeting me at my hotel in Minnesota. Like the second day I got there, I transferred. He was at my hotel like the next day. I was so surprised. I was not thinking anything was gonna like that. But he came up there and he was just basically telling me the plan of how I would fit into his system, how much he wants to help me get better, how the guys around would be a joy to play with them, that they're high level, and then putting on the Kentucky name is just it's second to none. And obviously, me at the time, I was like, that sounds amazing. I'm still focused on NBA right now. That's the first plan. But I'm like, man, this feels pretty comfortable. If I want to go to college and time prep, I'm like, man, yeah, I gotta go to Kentucky, man. It's the only option right now.
What's that relationship been like with, I guess, the whole coaching staff since you committed? I think Coach McClain was down there at the Combine. Maybe some other guys were there. Just how have they kind of welcomed you and brought you in those early few weeks?
I mean, it's been amazing. So first met Pope and Coach Brooks when they first came and seen me in Minnesota. Then I went to the Combine and I saw guys like Andrew Carr, I was with Amari in a workout. I seen Lamont, like just, being around those guys even for a quick conversation. It's like, yeah, you're going to do amazing. You're going to love it every second of being there, just the culture, the atmosphere. And, just being present at that school is going to be amazing. And then I've got, the rest of the coaching staff like Jay Hart, Coach Fox, Coach McKell, like all those guys bring energy and just pour everything they can into us each and every day. So everybody's been amazing so far. I have no complaints for nothing.
Jalen, you play with guys like Blake Henson and Bub Carrington, and although they can make plays, you got 10 guys now on this roster that can make those same plays. You talk about how the vision for you and how much more efficient you can become with all these weapons. I
mean, I feel like naturally it's just going to help. Just, being around a lot of really good guys at a high level that can do playmaking, score at will, it's just going to just naturally open the game up for myself. At the same time, I'm knowing that the way that I play, the way that I'm preparing myself is just going to make everything, easier for everybody else at the same time.
I've not been to a practice, but the reports that have come out is that you're really excelling in practice. First of all, I guess, why is that? But what is it about your game that allows you to go ahead and take that leadership role early on?
I guess people want to say I'm excelling, but I mean, I love playing basketball, man. I love coming to work every day and, just hanging out with my guys, going out and playing the sport I love, and then also being at Kentucky. I mean, it's definitely, just being here and seeing the culture, fans coming up to me, and I haven't even gone and played a game yet. The school year hasn't even started, so I just see it and I enjoy it, and I guess that's just who I am. I come and show up every day, put in my work. It's something that I love, and I'm also seeing that these guys are putting in the work, and they just want to get better. And we always talk about how we want to win a championship, so you got to build the right habits in order to achieve that level, and it starts 3 weeks ago.
Another Texas guy, Tyrese Maxey, he was famous for starting the Breakfast Club here at Kentucky a few years ago, like this gym rat as well. Where do you kind of get that mentality where you said you always want to be in the gym? I mean,
that's from where I grew up. My dad was an AAU coach when I was born. My godfather is John Lucas. I was born in the gym. I went 3 times a day, 6 a.m., 12, 5 o'clock. That's just what I do, and it's just naturally built in me. And it's amazing to see that a lot of these guys have that built into them also. And yeah, just it's what I love. I ain't got nothing else to do right now. I mean, Lexington's a beautiful city, but man, it ain't no Houston. So I mean, it's just the gym and the crib right now and hanging out.
Kind of on that note, I'm sure you had conversations with both about having a deeper front court. Did you all talk about, maybe the role might be not what you're expecting first of all, or did you all talk about that?
No, we didn't really go into that, so it's pretty much what you produce, you play the best players on the court, it doesn't matter anything else, so, just going on the court every single day and working hard, whether my role is to just sit or play, I don't really care either way, it's my goal is here to, win number 9 and just try to grow every single day.
Have you played in Rupp Arena?
I've not played in Rupp Arena, which is honestly very sad. So I feel like, some people that have watched me since high school, I feel like we were the best team in the state every single year. And embarrassing, but I haven't. So I'm looking forward to it a lot.
Are there any returning players or other newcomers that have surprised you so far?
I don't feel like anybody's really surprised me. I feel like, you see the highlights and, that's what you see on the court. So nobody's really surprised me, to be honest with you. Every single guy is just, I feel like the most thing that surprised me is just how great everybody is, and how creative dudes are. People come from we have dudes from other single schools, and they're not they're that's in the past for them. They're so bought into the Kentucky basketball. So that's kind of. Coach Pope says it. He recruits culture. He can get anybody in the country. It's Kentucky, so he gets whoever he wants. So how much everybody's loved each other, so fastly. That's probably been the most surprising, because I feel like I said earlier, I feel like we've been together for 3 years now. We're all hanging out in the lodge, shooting, doing different stuff, working out each other at night. So that's probably been the most surprising, how bought in we are so fast.
When you visualize that first run out at Rupp Arena, what do you think about in your mind what that's going to feel like, especially coming from someone who used to be one of those little kids just idolizing
for sure.
this team?
Yeah, so I used to go to games, and I was always trying to picture how I would be doing that. I wish I could have done that in high school, but I wasn't able to get that opportunity. So it's gonna be a surreal moment. I don't know. I feel like every single game, every time I come out, it's gonna be it's going to feel like it's new every single time. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Reece, I watched you a lot in high school, but how much has your game matured and grown since going to Miami and coming back here? What have you worked on and what have you improved on?
Just trying to get bigger and stronger. In high school I was always tall, but I was a thinner guy. So just trying to get bigger and stronger every single day. Growing my game. Listening, learning from the best. They're college coaches for a reason. So just learning every single day what they got to learn. I've been able to just mature a lot. I feel like.
Can you talk a little bit about having Kentucky people from the state playing on this roster, and what people know about Kentucky basketball elsewhere?
To be honest, Kentucky basketball, everybody knows us. We're the top university in the country. So I feel like everybody's seen all these players. You've been able to see firsthand, the Malachi Morenos, the Jasper Johnsons, but you've been able to see the other guys through highlights and stuff like that, and that's what they're gonna see. Every single day. Every guy, every single day during practice, you see something, you're like, wow, it's kind of wild. So.
Have you watched Jasper in Switzerland?
Yeah, we were able to we all sat around and watched them. So we were able to watch. I forgot who they played the first game, but we were able to watch it, and we were able to see the step back, and we were all going nuts for him because that's what we see in practice every single day. We see that Jasper. So I'm really looking forward to watching his game grow. As he matures and gets older. He's gonna be a first-round pick in a couple. This year or next year. So. None of that stuff surprises us, to be honest with you. I mean, that's surprised the fans, a little bit probably right now, that shot. But, that's what we were expecting of him. And, he's going to have big things this year, so I'm really looking forward to it.
What's the level of talent in practice right now that you guys are competing against each day?
Oh, it's a ton. Like I said earlier, we're the deepest team in the country, so every single day, everybody brings it. So I feel like it is an SEC game every single day in practice. Every guy is, going as hard as possible, and our coaches push us every single day. And I feel like the biggest thing right now is we push each other. I feel like that's what, it's going to make us a national championship, how much we gel off the court and how much we push each other. We're in the gym every single night, shooting with each other, working out, playing one-on-one and stuff like that. And so, different open gyms and stuff like that. So, really looking forward to, actually competing against other people. I've got, it's getting tiring going against each other. I'm looking forward to, versing other guys.
We talk a lot about, what the guys can do scoring-wise, but what can you say about the defense that you've seen so far?
We're going to be the best defensive team in the country, I'd probably say. We got guys, I'm not even going to list people. We've got the whole team. We got all guys that, we got a lot of length and, shot blocking, and I feel like 1 through 5, we're going to have, it's going to be a battle who's going to be the defensive player of the year in the SEC, because, it could probably be anybody. So I'm looking for, teams are going to have a tough time. We can score the ball and we can defend, so I feel like that's, recipes to success.
Reece, I understand you were super close to committing to North Carolina and Kentucky call. Can you talk about the emotion when you got that call and maybe how easy that decision was, even though it was so deep into the transfer period?
It was fairly easy. So, when they called, my immediate reaction was, all right, let me just call Coach Pope back and say, let's be done with this. But, I wanted to take my time, coming from being a Lexington kid, I knew how much it mean, to put on the jersey. And so, in the back of my mind, I always knew this is the place I wanted to go to. But, I try to give the other schools a chance, but, I always knew I wanted to come here. And, it's been a blessing for sure.
When that was announced, how much did your phone or your social media blow up with people?
It was wild. So, it was actually the night before it started blowing up. So I don't know how it got out. If anybody wants to let me know, I'd love to know. So I told one of the managers, who was one of my best friends, Miller Williams, and I was like, hey, I'm coming here. I told Malachi and Jasper, because I've had a great friendship with them for a couple years now. They're great dudes. And I told them I'm coming. They were like, finally, because they were, for like a week, Malachi and Jasper was like, if you don't commit right now, we're gonna come to your house. And I was like, all right, I'll just give me a minute. So I committed. So I called Coach. He was so excited, and I just loved hearing what he had to say. So I committed. And then that night, it blew up, and people were messaging me. Everybody was like, "You didn't tell me Kentucky was talking to you. You didn't tell me Kentucky." I was like, "I try to keep it low key. I try to keep it low key. That's because that's kind of who I am. I don't want to, not a big social media out there." And so when that blew up, everybody was telling me that, and then the next day was wild. I had to shut my phone off because everybody. But it's all love. The amount of people contacting me, just supporting me. I really this fan base is unbelievable.
How cool is it to be coached through by Coach Pope, who obviously knows what it's like to be a big not only college but also the NBA? Is that helpful to you?
Yeah, it's very helpful. So I think all of our bigs, we're able to grow a very quick friendship with him, or been very open with him, because he was able to do it at the highest level. So it's very easy to listen to somebody who's done it at the highest. He's been where we want to go, so it's very easy to just follow in his lead.